I have not come here alone. I carry my people in my bones. I have not come here alone. And if you listen, you can hear them in my soul. I have not come here alone. I carry my people in my bones. I have not come here alone. And if you listen, you can hear them in my soul. How are we feeling tonight, everybody? Awesome. That was a song called Never Alone by Lou Aya of the Peace Poets. And before we get started today, I hope you all enjoyed connecting with each other during happy hour and dinner. And I want to take a quick moment for us to reflect on this incredible journey of what 10 years of the Community Sentinel Awards have brought us here today. And we're about to show a video once we get the screens working. This video is going to celebrate the wisdom, courage, and powerful stories of our past honorees, individuals who have inspired us, challenge us, and remind us why we do this work. Many of you are in this room today. You might see yourself on screen, and people you may recognize. So make sure you cheer loud for them. Their voices and victories light the path forward, and we are so honored to share their reflections with you tonight. I invite you to look to one of the screens that we have here today. Please enjoy.
For typing all of these in. This is awesome to see.
And you see some of the most
and
beautiful
we'll
things.
just give it another second.
We are also, this is a hybrid event tonight, by the way. So we have what you just heard was our virtual audience. Please give us a moment for us to play. Okay, we ready? All right, let's try it again.
And you see some of the most beautiful things that you can imagine, and you take a turn, and there's an ugly scar of a pipeline or a compressor station or a strip mine.
Every time you look at news reports, how many pipelines have failed, how many fires have there been?
Adding another dangerous, toxic, polluting industry was just, I think, more than people could take or were willing to bear.
Their water supply was ruined. People were sick. Cattle were dying. Same scenario over and over and over again.
The number of times that people said, well, you can't fight a big oil company. They're just going to get it anyway. So you may as well take the money. That's not the point. It's just, you have to make a stand somewhere.
For the longest time, I thought, well, this is getting so absurd. Somebody will come and save us. Eventually, I realized that was not happening.
No one from the outside is ever going to come in and save our communities. It's going to be us collectively working together to get what we need.
I want this battle now in the street where it belongs and get the truth out, because I'm sick and tired of these people getting away with murder.
We are ordinary people going through extraordinary things. And I think when you just ask people to share their story and their truth, the product of that is courage, right?
How do you do things even though when you're scared, you just do it scared? But sometimes it helps me to remember, it could just be as simple as that.
When I see the threats all around us, it's kind of like I have no other choice but to do whatever I can.
I've never felt like giving up. Evil never sleeps, so I feel like neither should I. But I don't think evil does self-care. And I think, if we do self-care a little bit, it'll help us survive in the fight a little bit longer.
These are long fights. They can be fatiguing and exhausting. And sometimes we just need to think about things differently.
Keep rooted in your heart and that sense of responsibility and why you're really doing this, and you'll figure it out. And take some deep breaths. You don't have to do everything, and it's not all on your shoulders.
Take a walk in the woods. I mean, honestly, I can't think of any better therapy. Take a walk in the woods and just try to calm your mind.
Setting boundaries doesn't just maintain your health and well-being to be in this for the long haul, but actually open space for more leaders to come into this work.
Community members and organizers that we talk to who are like much older than us. We saw like this intergenerational kind of like, uprising. And so like that was something that really gave me resilience. We're here to uplift them. They're uplifting us through food, through their talks, through their music, everything.
It's easy to be angry at the person or the corporation that's causing the harm or the damage. But I think talking as often as we can with the people in the fight about the stuff that we're grateful for really opens our eyes as to why we're doing this.
What gives me resilience is that sense of community in the coalition. And just in daily life, like what will get us through all of this is each other.
It's always like the people that keep me going, and not because they're championing me, but because that's what it's about really, is like building the movements, like building relationships with people.
Come together with other people of like mind and determination who also value the gifts of this world of creation.
The amount of passion and interest of people who were willing to come and help make a stand, that was really inspiring. You almost kind of feed off of their enthusiasm and their passion.
I'm doing it for my children because I want my legacy to continue of our, ancestors. Like I want to be a good ancestor one day. So I'm being a good descendant right now.
We have to organize across and outward from the places that we are and the places where we have the influence that we do. And that's mostly in our own communities. The fight goes on, and it's a big one.
You never know what will happen, when it will happen. You just got to keep fighting, because something will happen, totally unexpected, or maybe expected, that will change the course of what's going on. If we give up, they win. As long as we don't give up, we will win.
If you are a past Community Sentinel Award winner, can I ask you to please stand up? And room, can we give them all some love? Woo! Thank you, everybody. You can. All right. We have, before I introduce myself and talk about the award ceremonies, we have a special musical performance. As you can see here, what we like to do at the Community Sentinel Awards is we like to open with music and we like to close with music. So give it up for our musicians, Andrew Woomer and David Pfister.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Andrew Woomer. Some of you know me. I live here in Pittsburgh, and I work for Clean Air Council with Lois and Terry and Annie and some of the other folks here. And this is my pal, David.
It's good to be here. My name is David Pfister. I'm the Western Pennsylvania organizer for Food and Water Watch. And
so David and I are going to play an old labor song called Step by Step that Pete Seeger set these words to an old Irish tune. And the lyrics come from the preamble of the Constitution of the United Mine Workers Association from like the 1860s, right? Before we had a whole law that said that people are allowed to get together and talk about wages and negotiate with their bosses, right? Like back when people were having shootouts over working conditions and wages. I know this is like an environmental thing, not like a union thing, but it's all connected. And when I use the word union in this song, instead of thinking about like some bureaucracy that like negotiates contracts for you, I want you to think about relationships between each other that are based on solidarity and care and mutual respect, and an ideal that says that a victory for one of us is a victory for all of us. And an injury to one of us is an injury to every single one of us, and that we have to do something about that because of our relationship and our solidarity. So. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none.
Give it up one more time for our musicians here. Ryan, my clicker. Ryan, clicker. If you want to know more about the musicians, you can scan the QR code on the table. That is the virtual program for tonight for you to learn more. All right, let's get this party started, shall we? Yeah. How do we like dinner tonight? How's it good? It was so good we had it twice because I know some of y'all ate this yesterday. I know I did. All right, well, hello and welcome everybody to the 2024 10th anniversary of the Community Sentinel Awards. Give it up, y'all. Tonight's event is hosted by FracTracker and Halt the Harm Network. My name is Megan Nguyen, and I am the honor to be your MC and host for tonight. Thank you. I'm a climate justice organizer for the Oil and Gas Action Network, where we battle big oil with direct action across California to fight for a livable future. It is so heartwarming to be here in person with you all today in the Westin at downtown Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. And a big hello to our virtual audience. We had a camera in the back right there. We see you. Thank you for joining in the celebration. And we encourage you to use the chat to cheer on our awardees and show your support. And for our live audience here, if you feel moved within you to cheer and support, this is an interactive and engaging event tonight, all right? That's right. Tonight, we gather to honor 5 extraordinary recipients whose noble actions exemplify the transformative power of caring, committed, and engaged leadership in their communities. Their work champions a healthy and sustainable future for all of us, and I'm about to give you a sneak peek of our incredible honorees tonight. Give it up for NaTisha Washington. NaTisha is advancing environmental justice across southwestern Pennsylvania by addressing air quality, petrochemical issues, and fostering equitable and healthy communities. Give it up for Andrea Pierce. Andrea is protecting tribal lands, upholding treaty rights, and shutting down Line 5 while advocating for environmental justice and indigenous sovereignty in Michigan and the Great Lakes. Give it up for Roishetta Ozane. Roishetta is supporting marginalized communities in Louisiana and globally through mutual aid and challenging fossil fuel financing and environmental advocacy. All right. Give it up for Pat Popple, who's joining us virtually. Pat is a prominent voice in Wisconsin advocating against the fossil fuel industry on conservation, public health, and the environment. And last but not least, Quinn Eide. Quinn is driving divestment from fossil fuels in California public pension systems by collaborating with union members, students, and advocates. Let's give all of our winners tonight one more round of applause. Once again, you can read the full bios of all our awardees tonight by scanning that QR code and learn more about that program here tonight. Or you can click the link in the chat for our virtual members over there. Each recipient tonight will receive $1,000 in cash prize money and a handcrafted physical award by a local artist named Dan Buchanan, who owns Studio Glass Company, as you can see right here on the stage. Yes. Thank you. This year, we had the incredible challenge of selecting our winners from a remarkable pool of 36 nominees from across the country. Each nominee represents the heart and soul of this movement. And while we could only choose a few, every single one of you who applied and in this room really deserves a recognition. So I want to take a moment right here and take a moment to look at everybody at your table, across the table, next to you, and really make eye contact and say hello, greet each other, and bring it back, The real victory here belongs to all of us, each one of you. The real victory over the people who show up every single day to fight for justice and protect our communities and push for change. Tonight's event will also feature our keynote speaker, Dr. Carolyn Finney, a storyteller, author, and a cultural geographer with a focus on identity, difference, creativity, and resilience. We're also joined by Mr. Eddie Mitchell, an Irish grassroots organizer flying all the way from Ireland to be here today with us. Yes, give it up. He is a local politician leading the fight to ban fracking and oppose the LNG terminal development in Ireland. That's right. Over the last decade, it's the 10th anniversary, y'all, the Community Sentinel Awards have honored more than 40 courageous leaders who stand on the front lines turning the tide against environmental injustice and fighting for a healthier and more equitable world. So what does that mean? Community Sentinel Awards. Some of y'all have never heard of us before. You're like, what am I at here? I just know we're getting free dinner and I'm dressing up tonight, right? So let me break it down for you. Community. What does community mean to you? Shout it out. Anyone? What is families? Neighborhood. Love. A special place. Show me what community looks like. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Exactly. Give it up for yourselves right now. And I want to know who's in the room. Community, if you're from Appalachia, make some noise. How about Gulf South? Where you at? Great Lakes, are you in the house? What about West Coast? Hey. And how about if you're local to Pittsburgh? And anyone else I missed, make some noise for yourself. This is what community looks like. It's everybody coming together, being here. And if you were here yesterday, Colette Pichon Battle's words are still ringing in my ear that community is what's going to save us. And I firmly, wholeheartedly believe that. And that's what the Community and Community Sentinel Award stands for today. All right, let's break down Sentinel. What does that mean, right? Soldier, yes. Well, this year we unveiled a new logo. Let me change my slides here. So this year we unveiled a new logo inspired by the North Star, a timeless symbol of guidance, resilience, and hope. And the North Star represents the unwavering spirit of our sentinels who stand watch and illuminate the path towards an equitable and sustainable solutions. And just as the North Star have guided us for centuries and travelers all around the world, our sentinels lead the way, embodying the values of vigilance and steadfastness in the face of environmental challenges. So that we got community, we got sentinel, and we got awards. Sometimes this job is a thankless job, y'all. And so we gotta take time to honor and give gratitude to the people who fight tirelessly. We're not in this for pay, right? We're not in this for the fame, the money. We're in this because we care. And so that's what this moment is about, is giving, honoring, and showing gratitude to the people who show up every single day. And additionally, you might see, what does this color mean, right? As we approached the landmark 10th anniversary, we reflected deeply on what colors could really embody this moment. And a quick internet search told us that we should pick maybe gold or silver, traditional colors of celebration. But us as an institution, FracTracker, we couldn't ignore the extractive roots of mineral mining that mirror the very struggles that we seek to dismantle. So we looked elsewhere, and inspiration arrived in an unexpected place: the iridescent shimmer of an oil spill on water. At first glance, it's a haunting image, an emblem of devastation, a scar on the earth, and destructive harm to communities and lives. But look closer, and there's a strange beauty in that sheen. The swirling hues of purple, violet, green, and gold are nature herself fighting back, bending light into the beauty in the midst of destruction. And this year, we've reclaimed those colors. Just as our awardees have transformed broken systems and wounded lands and hearts into stories of hope and renewal, we've taken something ugly and disastrous and made it our own. The shimmer is both a warning and a promise. It speaks to the damage inflicted by human greed and the resilience that lies within us to reclaim what's been broken and heal it with love, community, and liberation. And so to our honorees tonight, you are that shimmer. You are the light bending in impossible ways, reminding us that beauty and possibility still exists in this world. And you stand in the devastation, and like those iridescent colors, you remind us that in the darkest moments, we can find brilliance. So I ask you to join me in raising your glass or your fist to all of us and to the 10 years of honoring those who refuse to let despair have the final word. May these colors remind us from every spill, every wound, we can create something extraordinary. Cheers to each other. Take a sip. Thank you, everybody. All right. Oops. We also have our virtual guest joining us. Wave hello. Thank you for being here. These are some of the awesome things our virtual attendees are working on, as you can see, from all over. And these are the organizations that people are calling in from. Shout out, you can see your organization represented. We got Taproot, we got Physicians for Social Responsibility, Earthworks, Buckeye Environmental Network, and so many more. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And here's a little map from where everybody is. So as you can see, we are a countrywide event tonight. All right. Now it is my honor to welcome Uncle Lee to the stage. Give it up for Uncle Lee. Uncle Lee is an elder from the Ottawa Nation. Welcome.
Ani, bonjour, or hello. That's all in our language, and that's that translation of friends, a good mind, and peace. And I look at the seven grandfathers' teachings, in a good way. And when we bring in all those directions, Wabano, the east, the south, the west, and the north, the Kiweden, right? Actually, and then we brought the seven grandfathers, right? Seven grandfathers and those sharings of a great relationship with the land. Those 24 nations that used to be here on this river. There's 24 nations here with lots of bands and lots of tribes, right? So those bands and those tribes, we still coexist. We're right here, right in front of you. And each of the directions I like to use, it's like, in the East, I always like to do the truth, then the love, and then the courage, and then the honor. And then where I stand is the humility. And then if I look to the right, I look to respect everyone. I look to the left, and the left is, am I leaving out one? I am, because it's that short time of the year, right, when we can share these stories. And I'm looking for that other grandfather out there, still today. He's out there. I see him. How you doing, Frank? So with that much said, in that respect, I'm going to give it up. Say miigwech and dan. I'm going to speak a different language. I'm going to run a different path and translate along that road and that riverside. Each of those rivers has got banks, and each of those nations that I was speaking about with many tribes, and I mean, this is like huge. This is the new us. And when we recognized our landscapes, we recognize all the intentions behind goodness, that two-row wampum that we carry, that full circle of life. There's so much courage here. And that courage is giving it up to, Ottawa and Dowye, right? Ottawa and Dowye, the ones who's listening, right? So, miigwech and Dowye, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Uncle Lee, for your words and your wisdom. Up next, I'd like to invite Shannon Smith to the stage, who's the Executive Director for FracTracker Alliance. Give it up for Shannon.
Thank you so much and welcome everybody. It's a little short. Oh boy. Thank you so much for making the journey to be here tonight from all corners of the world, practically from all over the United States. This is so meaningful. FracTracker has been hosting the Sentinel Awards for the past 10 years. I've been with FracTracker for 5 years now, and I can honestly say it's kind of one of the major honors of my lifetime to be in the room with all of you and to have met so many incredible advocates through this work. It's extremely inspiring and meaningful for FracTracker to be able to host this event. alongside Halt the Harm Network. I want to start by saying thank you to our major sponsors at the Heinz Endowments. Phil, I always like to give you a little shout out. Thank you so much for all of your support. Really appreciate it. The 11th Hour Project, Beyond Petrochemicals, Foundation for Pennsylvania Watersheds, and that's it. Can we go to the next slide? Oh, I have the clicker. There we go. Am I on track? Okay. And thank you so much to the organizations that sponsored this event, as well as those who helped to spread the word. Thank you to our co-hosts at Halt the Harm Network and the planning team, Ryan Clover, Marty Kearns, Alyssa Yoder, AC Staubel. Thank you to our amazing MC, Megan Wen. You're incredible. Can we give a round of applause for Megan? Because I think this is the 4th year Megan's been with us, and we honestly couldn't do it without her. Thank you as well to the FracTracker team, Katie Jones, Don Hawkins, Sarah Carballo, Don Washington, and thank you to PSR Pennsylvania and Taproot Earth, who are also co-hosts of the event this year. So thank you so much, Tanya Verkidis and Veronica Koptis. Thank you guys so much for your help. So we want to welcome especially our guests from Gulf South to Appalachia. They're in Pittsburgh right now, building power and solidarity. Thank you guys for making the trip here. I had the pleasure of joining them for dinner and discussion last night, and like Megan, I was really inspired by Colette Pinchon-Battle's words. She reminded us that Fannie Lou Hamer said, "Nobody's free until everybody's free." And I'm really carrying that reminder with me today as we prepare to listen to a series of really amazing speakers. Environmental justice is something that concerns all of us. And until people are no longer being poisoned and threatened by the oil and gas industry, none of us are free. None of us are free until our Black, Indigenous, and queer family members and community members are free. So thank you, Colette, for your powerful facilitation last night and for amping us up for this fight, because it's going to be the fight of our lifetime. And we will continue to fight with love and solidarity. Speaking of fighters, congratulations to the 2024 Sentinel Award nominees and awardees. If you are one of these nominees, could you please stand up so that we can recognize and celebrate you? I know a lot of these nominees are in the room, so. Thank you also to this year's judges who had the incredibly difficult task of choosing just a handful of awardees from that list of incredible individuals. And thank you to the community for submitting so many nominations. So over the past 10 years, we've seen the movement grow thanks to the activists, advocates, and watchdogs who shine a light on the appalling harms of the oil and gas industry. All too often, these individuals have faced repression and retribution because of their fights, while also often facing grave health impacts brought on by industrial pollution and poisoning. Part of the Sentinel Awards program is honoring those heroes who have passed over in the previous year. You may have seen these heroes described in the poster boards around the room. I encourage you to take some time to read their stories, and there are cards on each table. If you want to write a note of condolence and gratitude, we will pass that along to their friends and family. We continue to walk along the path of justice, illuminated by the light of those who came before us. We honor their legacy and we thank them for their guidance. In reverence for the contributions of our predecessors and our ancestors, we commit to keeping the flame alive for future generations. This year's legacy of heroes includes Ashby Berkeley, Bob Nilsson, Christopher Shepard, Courtney Miller Fish, David Braun, Debbie Lee Cohen, Clee Benally, Laurel Gula, Peter District, Dr. Sridhar Ramamurthy, Teresa Mills, and Bill Limpert. I would like to invite to the stage now Ray Kemble, Jess Conard, and Ron Gula to join me and make a few remarks about their loved ones.
How you all doing tonight? Bob Nelson. He was a dear friend of mine, a very close friend of mine. He was my brother from another mother. He's helped me in many things, starting the Endemic Environmental Research Center. I was also part with him starting up the Seneca Lake, protect Seneca Lake from stopping the gas companies from putting natural gas into the salt mines under Seneca Lake. That was a big fight, which we overcome, and we beat them. They could not do it. So thank you, Bob, for everything you've done. He was a fantastic drone pilot, and he was also a great videographer, and he did a lot for a lot of people all over this world and all over this country, doing videos and doing his work, helping others out. Love you, Bob.
I didn't know Bob, but I am honored to read a letter from one of Bob's very good friends, Yvonne Taylor, who's the co-founder and vice president of Seneca Lake Guardian, a Waterkeeper affiliate, and its sister organization, Gas Free Seneca. She writes, I met Bob during the fracking fight in New York. He was so passionate and eager to offer his skills as a videographer, or really whatever was needed. He went on to join us in our fight against fracked gas storage on the shores of Seneca Lake, a proposed garbage incinerator, a power plant that was resurrected to mine crypto, and shutting down the state's largest landfill. Always behind the camera, quietly in the background, documenting every demonstration, press conference, and more. He used his talents to illuminate the most critical environmental issues in the Finger Lakes for over a decade. One day, on the bus home from Albany, about the 25th time, we sat together and he told me about his childhood. He had been in numerous foster homes and residential facilities like the one I have taught at for 28 years. I knew his story all too well. The trauma, displacement, abuse. I have seen so much of it, and Bob made it through it all. Not only did he make it, but he succeeded. And he was giving back to the world that had given him a really raw deal from the start. Very few kids I have worked with make it as far as Bob, which made him even more unique and special to me. We spent hours on the phone discussing not only the environmental issues, but also life stuff, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Over the years, he was sensitive, giving, raw, and always beautiful. To say that he left an unforgettable legacy and an indelible mark on the lives he touched is an understatement. His documentation of the people who persevered time and time again in the fight for clean air, water, and a healthy environment, a livable planet for the future generations is priceless. But most of all, it was his kind, gentle, generous, quirky, resilient, and rebellious spirit that will live on in our hearts forever.
Well, my name is Ron Gula. I've been in this fight since '05, and I used to work in the oil and gas industry. And my wife, Laurel, and my kids have gone through hell and back. They watched the farm. Of course, they were infants at the time, but my wife watched the farm and my property, our property, be destroyed, 142 acres. I called these guys out because I knew what was going on since I worked for Hughes Tool Company, Howard Hughes' company. I've been on many, many well sites. I documented many, many wells. I documented many, many problems. My wife put up with so much that she always was there at my side, no matter what. I had phone calls all the time. My kids would always ask me, why are you up so late, as they got older? And Remy, my daughter, a couple weeks ago said, you know, Dad, you've seen peace in your life. I have never seen peace. She's 19. She's right. This is all she's heard. And my wife ended up with acute myeloid leukemia. When we moved to Iowa, we moved there, we got out of Pennsylvania, we moved to Iowa in August of 19. Because I'm the guy that broke the story with the children in Canada McMillan School District that had the cancers. I've been documenting all this for decades. The dead cattle. I've had the meetings with the Attorney General's office because of Craig and Ray. We went to Washington, D.C. for the Saab hearing back in, 15? And we kicked ass there.
Yeah, we did.
But the game still goes on. And Laurel, God bless her, she suffered for 14 months. She told me 3 days before she died, you'll get through this, because I told her, I feel so bad what you've been through all these years. And we were married for 17 years. All this miserable hell. And she said, you'll get through it. You'll get to the other side and plant a tree for me in my memory. We're all trees here. And we're growing. And we're getting bigger. And we are getting stronger. And this industry is going to keep rolling forward. But people need to keep standing up and keep educating the young. Because many, many meetings that I've been in, I've been so tired of seeing the gray-haired. I want to see the young, because it's your world. You're going to be taking it over, and it's a hell of a mess. Thanks.
Now, before we transition to our next speaker, let's just take a breath together and reflect on the gratitude in our hearts and all of the heroes in our lives, past and present. Thank you all so much. And thank you for sharing the stories of Bob and Laurel, who are two incredible individuals who have impacted so many lives. And our hearts ache for you, and we're here to support you in any way we can, and we love you. So now, I will pass it over to our next speaker, Marty Kearns, who's the Executive Director of Net-Centric Campaigns. Oh, Marty, just come up here, but I forgot that I need to acknowledge David Braun. I got a little bit emotional there, lost my place. But very importantly, I'd like to acknowledge David Braun, who was an incredible anti-fracking activist and former member of FracTracker's board of directors. He was also a lively MC for the Sentinel Awards for a few years. David's accomplishments are legendary, as many of you in this room know. But beyond those accomplishments, he was a steadfast, giving, and loving friend to many people who knew him. And with that, I will pass it over to Marty Kearns, Executive Director of Net-Centric Campaigns.
Shannon, thank you. Thank you to the FracTracker team. I've had the honor of working with you for over 7 years in my role as Executive Director of Net-Centric Campaigns and partners on Halt the Harm Network. My name is Marty Kearns, and I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Like many of you, I was raised in an affected community. A quarter mile down the street from my home was the Marvin coal cracker. It was a massive coal cracker, at its peak employing 1,300 plus miners and moving millions of tons of coal annually. It was totally abandoned in 1972. There was no fence line in the 70s and 80s. The damn bankrupt company couldn't afford the fence. So the Marvin was my playground. My friends and I ran up and down on the tailings, burned black and blue and green and junk on top of the piles, and ran around among the abandoned buildings. No fence. Our feet and legs turned orange from crossing the Lackawanna River, loaded with oxidized iron and toxic runoff. We didn't care. We didn't know any better. We deserved better, and our mothers freaked out. Like all of our communities, we grew up among salesmen, health workers, union organizers, immigrants, factory workers, farmers, the unemployed, and the professionals. Just like all of your communities, we are much more than just another extraction point on somebody's corporate map. Now they're telling you that fracking is a good job. It's the same as coal. We've seen this before. We know how it ends. We know that jobs that are destroying communities are not good jobs. Money that ruins our children's health is not good money. We need good money. We need good jobs. We need a different kind of energy. And if a politician tells you otherwise, we need a new politician too. We deserve better than poison disguised as prosperity. We know better. In 2024, we hear the lessons from the front porch of families whose children have developed illness after fracking and oil and gas operations have started nearby. We learn from grandmothers who refused to be silent, from farmers who stood their ground, and from young people demanding a different future. We learn by listening to our neighbors in Washington County who were promised an economic boom, but their property values are lower. Their parents now are worried about the clean air and water for their children. Their neighbors face increased cancers, lower infant birth rates at their nearby hospitals, and reduced life expectancy. When extraction industries move in, they break promises and they break communities. We know what happens when communities are treated as sacrifice zones. Their environmental health is compromised, their economic stabilities collapse, and their social networks break. Finally, if unchecked, despair takes hold, addictions climb, and so do overdoses from drugs. This is why I'm proud to be part of Halt the Harm Network and these awards year after year, because we march in the other direction. We connect people. We care about and we fight for health and the environment. We are a network of people from diverse backgrounds. Each member brings their own focus from their own group, from shutting down a flaring well to stopping plastic plants to preventing pipelines or fighting systemic racism and climate destruction. Whether a sister, a parent, a volunteer, a hunter, everyone brings something to this fight. We all start at different points, and we all travel at different speeds. Halt the Harm Network focuses on turning our differences into strength. While our strategies do differ, we all share a hunger to be better at communications. We seek a deeper understanding of what the hell is going on, and we all work for collective power. We fan the flame of each other's courage. This unity grows hope. Hope isn't just an emotion, it's a vision and a pathway forward. Look around this room. Everyone here started on this path, maybe at a kitchen table, a town hall, as a student in school, or walking their property line. But no one walked alone for long, because that's the power of networking. When one person stands up, the others join in. And when one community fights back, neighboring towns learn from each other. We celebrate standing up and standing firm. We find bravery from people that we love or something that we love, and that will not go quietly. Love like that cannot be silenced because of Robert's rules or etiquette or all kinds of direct pressure. These quiet heroes found their voice when it mattered most. The industry thinks it can wait us out. They are wrong. Every award winner nominee here tonight blazes a path for others to follow. We are getting stronger and smarter. The next generation will see clean, renewable energy, more solar panels and wind farms, less pollution. Where my feet were turned orange from mine runoff, I'll fish the Lackawanna River with my children and grandchildren. Our winners, your courage lights the way, and our speakers. And to everyone else, there's enough path for all of us. Keep moving. That's what the Sentinel Awards celebrate. Not just individual acts of bravery, but the networks of courage we build together. Because when we're connected, we are powerful. Every step forward helps clear the way for those behind us. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty, for your inspiring words. Up next, we have our first keynote speaker, Dr. Carolyn Finney, who's going to be joining us from Zoom. Dr. Carolyn Finney is a storyteller, author, and cultural geographer focused on issues of identity, difference, creativity, and resilience. With a background in both the arts and academia, including a career in acting and backpacking around the world, Dr. Carolyn is passionate about reimagining a more just, liberatory, and sustainable future. She's the author of Black Faces, White Spaces, and has served on the National Parks Advisory Board. A Fulbright Scholar and a recipient of 2 Mellon Fellowships, Dr. Carolyn is currently working on her second book, a scholar artist in residence at Millbury College. Let's give it up for Dr. Carolyn, who's joining us virtually. Let's get her on screen. All right. Give us a moment to switch here. Dr. Carolyn, can you say a few words? Let's see if you can hear you.
I'm speaking. I can see you. Can you see me?
We can see and hear you. Oh. There's an echo. One sec.
Can you see me yet?
We can see you, but we are adjusting. But go ahead and start addressing folks. Go ahead and take it away.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, you'll have to, as long as you can hear me, I'm gonna begin.
Go for it. We're gonna
fix the screen.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's fabulous. Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. It's so, I'm actually really moved by listening to everybody honor everyone. And what I love is the words that I wrote to share with you today, and I always feel like there's some energy in the air. Listening to everybody who came before, some of the themes that I decided to tap into, were themes that other people are also carrying today. So even though I'm not there with you in the room, I'm there with you, right? So I wanna thank you for inviting me to be part of this celebration of love. And that's what I've decided to call it. It's a celebration of love. And I'm not talking about storybook love. You know, that love that seems to only happen to people of a certain age, that catches you unaware, but promises you everything without you having to do anything, but perhaps just look good. No, that's not the kind of love I'm talking about. When I think about celebrating the individuals we're here today to honor, those who stand before us and those who are no longer with us, I'm thinking about a love that is anything but passive. I'm thinking about a Harriet Tubman kind of love. You know what I mean, that kind of love fueled by rage and transformed into action that saves lives. Oh, and not just the bodies that she freed, but also the ones who put those bodies in chains. They just didn't know it. And not just the bodies she could see, but those yet to be born free. That's the kind of love that changes history. And history is a funny thing, especially when we're talking about people who took a stand for a place, for a people, a species, a belief, an idea, who took a stand for themselves, who loved a people, a species, a place, a belief, and an idea, and themselves, regardless. Who do we remember, and who do we forget? I'm thinking about a love that burns for the approximately, but we really don't have any idea, 8.7 million species that exist on this earth with us. Whales and elephants and crocodiles and spiders and bats and dogs and dolphins and octopi And man, we really show them the love. Wikipedia lists 82 pages of films about elephants alone, 19 pages of films about whales, 51 pages of films about spiders, and don't get me started about dogs. I'm also thinking about a love that burns for the 500 species that we've lost in the last 100 years. The Tasmanian tiger, the passenger pigeon, the golden toad, the western black rhino. I'm thinking about the love that burns for the 5 oceans, the 165,000 rivers, and the 304 million lakes that share this earth with us. I'm thinking about the love that burns for the 4 billion hectares of forest still here with us. And I'm thinking about the nearly 2,000 environmental activists whose love burns so deep that they had their lives taken for us. I want to get a bit personable about rage and love, because I'm all about it these days. Rage and love, rage and love. I'm going to say it 3 more times. Rage and love, rage and love, rage and love. Last fall, I had the chance to hear Cornel West speak at the Flynn Theater here in Burlington, Vermont, where I've been living for the last few years. So most of you probably know who Cornel is, Black philosopher, thinker, writer, just a brilliant man. Regardless of what you think about his politics, that man comes correct every single time. He spoke in front of a full audience of folks, and the first thing he asks us is, what kind of human do you choose to be? The question puts the responsibility and the agency squarely at our feet and squarely at my feet. The freedom to choose at my feet. What kind of human do I want to be? And Brother West talked about a lot of things. He talked about climate change and racism and justice and democracy. He covered the basis, but all through the time he was talking, I kept thinking in my head, what kind of human do I choose to be? So I thought about it and I said, well, I'm choosing, in terms of what kind of human I want to be. I want to be all things considered and then some. I want to be empathetic. I want to be kind. I want to be honest. I want to be brave. I want to be generous, vulnerable, open, and coming correct to any relationship that I have, regardless of who or what it is with. And the audience must have been feeling it because there was a vibe in the room. The energy was high. I was feeling good. And I hadn't been feeling good like that in a really long time. Well, sometimes I like to think about how the universe will test me. Because you're feeling good, the universe is going to put a test there to see where you're at on it. 3 days later, the universe did just that. So I received an email. It was from a woman who identified herself as Sarah. So I wrote that book, Black Faces, White Spaces, Reimagining the Relationship of African Americans to the Great Outdoors. If you look at the cover of the book, if somebody just passes it in glancing, what they see is black faces, white spaces. And I know that's provocative for some people. They don't bother opening the cover. This is the email I got from Sarah, who I don't know. She wrote, "Hi, I saw your racist book at the National Park Service Center today, and I made sure to put a normal, non-racist book in front of your stack so that no one would see your racist book. Stop being racist. Our world depends on harmony, not disharmony, and racists like you. White people are great." Remember I told you 3 days ago I was sitting in front of Cornel West and I was going to be vulnerable and empathetic and open and kind. I wasn't feeling any of those things. I felt rage because I was tired. I said she knew nothing about me, about my life, how many times I've been dismissed, how many times I've been forgotten, how many times I've been underrepresented, misrepresented, denied. Over and over again, I got stories. I know everybody in that room has got stories. I wasn't feeling kind at all. And I wanted to share that with you because I could feel both things at once. After some time about thinking about her, I said, my God, something must have happened to her because she couldn't even be in conversation with me, and how all of us have been through some kind of trauma. I wrote here, the question of how do we heal? And I don't believe it's about waiting till we've figured it all out or even coming to some place of grace. I'm still working on it with Sarah the Great. So it's coming to these conversations for me with my crooked heart to bear. How do we continue to do that and show up? Sometimes, and one of the earlier speakers said this, sometimes we just have to push through. I looked up the meaning of resilience. I'm always interested in how humans, in an effort to express ourselves and communicate not just who we are, but who we aspire to be, how we find the word for that. And if you first look at resilience, what it says is resilience is defined as the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. It's also about elasticity and flexibility and adaptability. I'm like, okay with that, but I looked a little deeper. And the Latin root is the verb resalare, which means to jump back. And if you look at the base of that word, which is salare, its actual meaning is to leap. And I'm thinking about the leap that Harriet Tubman took again and again. Crooked heart and toe. And I think about the leap that the people we're here to honor today take again and again. Crooked hearts in tow. I looked up the word courage too. The Latin root is cor, which means heart. We often think of courage as showing bravery in the face of imminent risk, and I think that's correct. But in the past, courage meant to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. Speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. That's some serious radical vulnerability. To say a thing because you believe a thing and then you do a thing regardless. Think about all the moments in human history where someone stood in what must have seemed like an impossible moment of change and pushed through regardless. There's a story that moves me. I learned about it a couple of years ago. It's a love story. It's the story of a mountain gorilla named Ndakazi, who lived at Virunga National Park in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Just over 14 years of age, she passed away in September 2021 in the arms of an African ranger who had cared for her since she was found orphaned at 2 months old. Ndakazi, then just a baby, had seen her mother murdered right in front of her. I imagine that she would have every right to not trust us humans and certainly not to love us. They say love is blind, but I believe rage can bring a whole other level of darkness. Seeing a human take the life of her mother, I just want you to imagine that, right? What that must have been like for her. But instead, she and the ranger, Andre Boma, formed a relationship of care and yes, of love over the 14 years of her life. And there's a famous photo of this. So if you look up Ndakazi or Andre Boma, a photographer took a picture at the moment of her death of this ranger holding her in her arms. And even the photographer who took the picture said it was so private, he took the photo that he had to turn and walk away because he was so moved by what he was seeing. Mr. Boma's words stay with me. He said, quote, "We must justify why we're here on this earth. Gorillas justify why I'm here." He was speaking one's mind by telling all of one's heart, to say a thing because you believe a thing and then you do a thing regardless. Kaylin Sullivan Two Trees is a Black and Indigenous artist and an old friend. And she was asked what she thought about hope, especially now with all the kind of change that is happening, right? What did she think about hope? And what she actually said was that she doesn't really like to think about hope. She doesn't find it very useful because, hear me out, she said, if you don't get what you want, you usually become hopeless. What she actually advocates for is faith and asks the question, what do you believe in? Because if you believe in a thing, you will do it regardless. I've never met the 5 individuals that we honor here today. And I have to own that. I have never met them, but I know them. I see them every time I think about those who have come before and made it possible for me to stand here today whole. I know them when I read about Fannie Lou Hamer and Rachel Carson and Dolores Huerta. Did you know that she was arrested 22 times and beaten within an inch of her life? And Wilma Mankiller and Maveen Betch, did you know that she gave all her wealth away to environmental causes? And Patty Gonia and Greta Thunberg and John Francis and Sharon Day Water Walker and Mary Coatney, known as Little Miss Flint. Did you know that she was working to eradicate the water crisis since she was 8 years old? And Harriet Tubman and Andre Boma, who loved deeply and fiercely and transformed their rage into a kind of love that changes us all. I've never met the 5 individuals that we honor here today, but I know them. Every time I am able to breathe the air and drink the water and stand on the land that feeds me and tells me who I am. I know them because they remind me of what it means when I feel the rage and the love. I know them because when I look in the mirror and consider my choices in times of great change, when I consider my choices in times of great fear, when I consider my choices in times of great possibility, their faces remind me of who I am. They remind me that I've got hallelujahs in my pocket and I am ready to sing. Change doesn't happen because we hope it do. Change happens because we make it do. Just ask NaTisha, Roishetta, Andrea, Quinn, and Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carolyn. I know you can hear me out there. Can we give it up one more time for Dr. Carolyn? Wow. That's right. Dr. Carolyn, you had so much love and laughter and cheers in the room here. I just wanted you to know that. And what rings for me is that change doesn't happen because we hope it does. Change happens because we make it happen. Right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Carolyn. All right. And if you want to know more about Dr. Carolyn, scan that QR code, visit her website, and you can learn more, or visit carolynfinney.com. Up next, I'd like to introduce our next keynote speaker, Mr. Eide Mitchell, from all the way from Ireland. Give it up for Mr. Eide. Eide Mitchell is a farmer from west of Ireland and an environmental activist who became involved in the fight against fracking when it was proposed in the Llewellyn gas basin in 2011. As a spokesperson for Love Latrine, Eide helped build resistance and political support that led to a 2017 ban on fracking in Ireland. He also played a key role in securing a world first ban on fracked gas imports in 2021. And however, in 2023, a proposal for an LNG terminal in Ireland threatened those gains, and Eide continues to fight to protect communities from the harmful effects of fracking and fracked gas imports. Let's give it up for Mr. Eide Mitchell.
How are you? So I suppose I'm going to tell a story that you probably haven't heard. And the reason why I think it's important for you to hear the story is because you played a huge part in it. So I'm a farmer from the west of Ireland, living in a quiet part of Ireland. Very few people, beautiful landscape. And in 2011, fracking was proposed. So a company called Tamboran wanted to drill 9,000 wells in our place. So we had to try and figure out what fracking was. And lucky enough, we had the internet, and we found ye. So we found that ye had been affected by fracking since about 2005, and we started to find ye on the internet, and we started to listen. We found places like Dimmock, where there was water contamination, and we were asking questions. What are the problems? And they wanted to talk to us about engineering solutions, and they told us there was no such thing as drinking water contamination. Like we found G. And I suppose the story, our story in Ireland obviously is different to your story. So we've been fighting colonization for 800 years. So when a right-wing person turned up and told us lies, we kind of got it, you know. They told us a story about work that they had done in Australia. And they said that, you know, we were ahead of the Australians because we had kept our core bits from drilling that had happened in the past. And they talked about the Aborigines, that they had just kept the boxes and they'd lost the cores. So we at that moment understood that we were the indigenous where we lived, and that it was our job to fight. And we had a history of fighting the oil and gas industry. A community in Rossport had been fighting for a number of years before that. And the story there was that we had a lady, Sister Magella McCarran, who I got to know very well. She has died recently. She was in Africa, in Nigeria, and she seen Shell there. And she was a great friend of Ken Saro-Wiwa. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Igoni 9. So she brought that story back to Rossport, to that community where Shell wanted to build. They had found gas in the Atlantic and they wanted to build a refinery on the coast. So the people fought them there for 15 years. And we fight differently than ye. We stand on the road, we lock on, and I say we now. I want to be careful that the people that did that in Rossport, we weren't there with them. We were looking on. They were called all sorts of names. They were called terrorists. They were called, the media attacked those people. But what happened in Ireland was people like Sister Magella that knew the story of what happened the Igoni 9 and understood human rights, they got the UN involved. And the UN came and wrote a report on policing there. And the effect of that was that the Irish government became embarrassed eventually with the record of what happened to people who were standing up to the oil and gas industry. And we went and we met those people when fracking was proposed in Ireland. It was them that told us that story. We expected to meet radical people, but we met people like ye. You know, we met ordinary people who were standing up in their communities, and we said, we're more radical than them. You know? And they didn't tell us they'd help us. They told us that it was our duty now and our battle, and it was up to us to decide what we wanted to do, whether we wanted to stand and fight or whether we wanted to let them in. Now, when you hear that, there's only one thing left, and that's a fight, you know. So we, over a 6-year period, we listened to people like Theo Colburn, you know, talking about endocrine disruption. You know, we asked her to come to Ireland. I wrote to her, and she wrote back and said she'd love to come, but she was 84. You know, Anthony Ingraffia taught us about risk. You know, Jessica Ernst talked to us about injustice and about water contamination. People like Ray proved that the water contamination was real. Like the people in New York banned fracking, so we could explain to our leaders that it was something that was a normal thing for people to do, you know. Ned Kiter, or Kitayer, I have to learn how to pronounce his name properly when I'm in the US. He helped us talk to people in Northern Ireland since we banned fracking in 2017, you know, about the health impacts. So we didn't talk about fracking in the way that we see he talking about it. Well, actually, no, that's not correct. We talked about it in the framing that we heard in communities. which was not to talk about engineering solutions, not to talk about regulation, not even to talk so much about studies that proved. We talked about decision making. We talked about, policy and public health. And we understood that fracking can't be regulated. And we understood that it had to be banned at policy level. And so we took an abolitionist position against fracking in Ireland. And then we stood on the road and we fought and we built. And we were successful. In 2017, we got a ban on fracking. Now, people in Ireland, we know we missed a bullet, but I'm in a room now with people who understand what a ban on fracking means. But I want to give you context. So it's illegal in the Irish onshore to pump a fluid under pressure into a petroleum well. Think about that. Imagine if that was illegal in America. I believe, and that's what we wrote bans ourselves. We focused on shales, tight sands, and coal seams, based on what Anthony and Graffia was talking to us about, understanding risk and stuff. But then our Attorney General turned up with a ban where he defined fracking. He didn't say high pressure, He basically covered all of the oil and gas industry. So we ran the oil and gas industry out of Ireland. And that happened when Trump was president. I know that you're facing into tough times, but in that period when Trump was president, we banned fracking, and we banned it well. And we had unanimous support in the Dáil when we done that. Every person, every TD in the Dáil supported that ban. Fracking is toxic in Ireland. We then went on and we worked with people in the Physicians for Social Responsibility here, and we went to the UN, and we looked for to table a resolution calling for a global ban on fracking. And we were successful in getting the Irish government to agree to that, to table that motion. And we know that if we had got that motion tabled, we would have had the support within the UN to do that, because it wasn't something that America could stop. But Biden became president. So I know you are all disgusted by the Democrats losing. But when Trump was president, we made a lot of progress. And when Biden was president, the Irish government got phone calls and people were told that, American interests actually took over. Yeah. So, but we took that momentum that we had. At the UN, I remember speaking there around a table with communities that were talking about the issues that they were facing. And I talked about the ban, and I was told that, a domestic ban, fair play to ye, you stood up, you protected yourselves, but it doesn't mean that much on the world stage. And that was very important to hear that. But I explained that what we were going to do was, we were not going to poison American communities. So we were already well on our way at that stage to banning US frack gas. And we succeeded in 2021 in putting a policy ban in place on all LNG terminals, because we understood that was the only way to keep frack gas out of the Irish energy mix. Because we understand that if we allow frack gas into the energy mix, that we lose the argument to stop fracking in our own neighbourhoods. So that ban that we have is connected to ye, because we knew how to build power in a country where power can be built. Okay? But that is a reflection of what you were facing here. So we took your struggle and we turned that into real, into real action in Ireland. Now, we did it differently. I don't understand why you're not out on the road tying yourselves to lorries. I don't understand that. I don't understand why the rage that ye feel isn't turning into that kind of action. And that's for ye, no more than the people in Rossport telling us that I'm not telling you what to do. But in Ireland, we will hopefully be able to resist what's coming. Because after 2021, the Green Party in 2023, after Biden came back into power, they overturned the ban on LNG terminals. Now, the reaction that we had to that was to wipe the Greens out. So the Greens had an election last week. They went out to the people with 12, and because they lost their credibility, because only the Green Party could take a ban on frack gas imports and have an emergency, an idea to build LNG terminals as an emergency. Only the Green Party could do that to us because they used our voice. They harvested all of the work that we had done, turned it into political power, and then betrayed us. So the reason that I'm here to talk to you is because we need your voices again. We need to hear your stories again. We have political support to ban frack gas imports from the US in Ireland, 100%. But we have been undermined by the established Green movement because they conceded because of the wars. They conceded to a war narrative, a security narrative. And that's the danger we all face now, is that we have won the arguments everywhere on climate and biodiversity. We understand that. People get that. They can't argue against us. But now they're going to argue on security. They're going to argue on new narratives. So we need your voices again. So we are going to win that battle. It may mean that we have to stand on the road with all of the young people who understand that frack gas imports are 33% worse than coal. You know, it's not a hard battle to win, but we do need your voices. And we will stand on the road, and hopefully we will shine a light for ye the way you've shined a light for us. And so don't feel bad that Trump's in power. Don't feel bad, because now it's a straight fight. It's a straight fight. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eide Mitchell. Can we give it up one more time for Mr. Eide? Can you run for office over here someday? We definitely need some more people who believe in the harm of fracking and want to turn the tide against environmental injustice. So thank you for your inspirational words. And I want to make space for people to feel however they want to feel about this, election or whatever is coming up, because there is space for love and rage, love and rage, love and rage, as Dr. Carolyn said earlier. So I want to make space for that. All right, and now the moment we've all been waiting for. It is time for us to honor our 5 awardees tonight for the Community Sentinel Awards. All right, here's how this is going to go for our awardees tonight. They are all going to be introduced by someone they know personally and that can speak to their merits and honor, and then we will hear from our awardees directly. Are we ready? All right. Okay, up first, it is my honor to introduce NaTisha C Washington, who will be introduced by Deb Smith. Give it up for Deb.
Hi, everyone. Our first award of the evening is a local Community Sentinel Award.
with an emphasis on the word community. Recipient NaTisha Washington, to her, environmental community and environmental justice means everything in Allegheny County, and she's devoted her life to date to that cause. Let me tell you a little bit about the person I've come to know. NaTisha grew up in Wilkinsburg and graduated from high school there. She went on to study landscape contracting design at Penn State University, where she received her bachelor in horticulture. Dedicated and highly motivated, she began adding skill sets to her resume immediately: a certified master gardener, and numerous clerical jobs to improve her data, research, and engagement skills. Her community nonprofit work started in the Hilltop community at the former Pittsburgh Works and blossomed into her long-standing position at Operation Better Block as their Green Initiative Coordinator. At OBB, she put all her energy into working with the community and the Corp to plan out and improve green spaces and address environmental issues in Homewood. The Junior Green Corp is a job readiness program for teens 14 to 18, and through her leadership, it continues to thrive today. An environmental community justice advocate, she has done it all. She worked and supported projects focused on ensuring communities have healthy food, have reduced levels of air pollution, and better water quality. She is co-owner of a consulting company, Washington Green Solutions, LLC, where she and her partner help limited capacity groups and nonprofits create more sustainable, equitable practices. She also was an environmental justice coordinator at 412 Justice. In addition, she sits on the boards of Climate Power, Communitopia, and Feed the Hood. Last year, the Breathe Project was honored when NaTisha agreed to join our staff as a communications manager, and more importantly, as an environmental justice outreach organizer. In this capacity, she assists in the creation of timely communications, graphic designs, videos of community voices, and educational social media campaigns. She also works with environmental justice community advocates to ensure their voices are heard and that they have a seat at the table. At the same time she's been doing all this, believe it or not, she jumped into politics. She unsuccessfully ran for the seat in a special election for PA House Representative for the 34th District. And then she went on to win a seat as the Wilkinsburg Borough Council member, where she grew up, and she was sworn in January of 2024. At the Breathe Project, we found that NaTisha's greatest talent is the way she has worked as a bridge, navigating diverse communities and different worlds that were once distinct and separate, that formerly pushed each other apart. Through her dedication to her core community values, she's inspired us all and brought us all closer together in our environmental work with greater understanding and respect for one another. With that, I'd like to introduce, and I'm honored to welcome NaTisha as a Community Sentinel Award winner.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. The hardest part of campaigning for me was talking about myself, so bear with me as I talk about myself. But first, I want to talk about the people who made it possible for me to be here. Starting with the people that I've worked with from my graduation at Penn State till my time now. I've been able to work with many amazing people who have taught me many of the skills that I have today, and I'm actually trying to keep up with them, so I am thankful to each and every one that has mentored me and guided me. And most of them were older Black women, just FYI. So I want to thank them. my friends who have always listened to me, be there for me and supported me. Unfortunately, some of them are on vacation right now, but they have given me lots of thanks over this whole month. And last but certainly not least, my family. My family is the foundation of my life and my work and my advocacy. I grew into a family that always advocated for the rights of people, especially youth. I grew up knowing that love and that rage and how they balance out with each other to make change. I have my mother who's been on school board for most, if not all my life, 38 plus years in school board. And I have a father who's been a probation officer. So I've always loved youth advocacy. And when I was in high school, I was a junior council member. And when I was a junior council member in my senior year, they talked about how can we do a curfew because it's summertime and the kids are going to be out. And so I made the bold statement of, well, we don't have anything to do, so I don't know what you're expecting of us. And just throwing us into juvie does not help us at all. So that's when I started to figure out that my voice could actually change perspective and it could actually gain understanding. Thank you. So I'm going to talk about how I got here. So Deb did a lovely rundown of all of the things I've done. So just to dive into some of those things. Growing up in Wilkinsburg, I always walked around my community and I saw that it was very different from the communities that I was privileged to be in. My mother had a really great job at WAMO, so I got to go to a lot of nice communities and indulge in very great programs. And I got to see the difference in how I was living and how other people were living. And I thought about the unfairness of that as I walked around neighborhoods and seeing mines with no street lights and unfixed sidewalks and trees that were falling down and houses that were vacant. I wanted to fix it. And I originally thought architecture was it, but I hated physics, so we're here at landscaping. So I started to figure out after my degree, what do I do with it? And I was thankful to work in the Hilltop where I learned about youth education and how engaged the youth were in the environment and how just showing them the environment can make an impact to how they wanted to see their future, and engaging them on how a future could be better with them was the hope and the blood of my work, because seeing youth be hopeful for a future always makes me hopeful for a future. So after that, I went to Homewood. I did a lot of advocacy with my youth there, and my proudest moment there was after years of farming and building up our farm, we finally did a presentation. Two groups did presentations on what they did. And as we got to the end of their award ceremony, they said, Miss NaTisha, can we just leave? Because we know we're not going to win nothing. And it was a little discouraging for me because, you know, we worked so hard to get here and we worked so hard on our farm, even with all the break-ins and all the mess that we went through. I wanted them to feel accomplished. So I want to say the first announcement of the award was their award. And the happiness, thank you, you could clap for that. The happiness, the joy, all of that I felt with them, it made me feel like I could actually have people believe in themselves from any age, because it wasn't just my junior Green Corps that won awards, but it was many of my residents that got vacant spaces to be beautiful gardens and rain gardens, and they would give me little props and gifts about it. But what really fueled me, which actually fuels me through my work, is that I got to see a difference physically. I got to see somebody that was living in this community thank me for something that didn't even take me too much to do, just a couple of phone calls and a grant and some support from many partners. But I want to say in my work of organizing, what I found out the most was there were 3 good lessons that kind of plowed me through this. The first was do it scared. And I say that in every speech that I have because a lot of people get scared to fight against these issues. And when I had that quote in my head, I actually got it out of a journal. It's not my quote. It made life a lot easier for me when it came to the tough decisions, because I figured if I didn't do it scared, who was going to do it scared? So I found 2 other quotes that really helped me. The second one was actually from my grandmother. My grandmother told me that I didn't have to know everything, but I need to know where to find it. And it helped me research, it helped me find the information, find solutions. But one thing I added to that in my organizing is that I didn't need to know everything. I just needed to know who knew it. And it helped me connect other people to the experts that were there to help them. And last but not least, walking by faith, because every day is a new day to be better. I say that in my prayers every day, because I know every day that I wake up, every new day that I have is another chance to make something better. And as long as I had faith, as long as I had God, there was nothing to be scared of. So thank you, everybody.
NaTisha, don't forget your award, NaTisha.
Gotta hug the mom first. Gotta hug the mom. Give it up one more time for NaTisha. I love that. Do it afraid, otherwise no one else is gonna do it. I don't have to know everything, but I have to know where to find it. And what was that last one again? That's right. But what did you say in your prayers every day? Every day? Walking by faith because every day is a new day. Amazing. Walking by faith because every day is a new day to be better. Cheers to that. Thank you, NaTisha. All right. Up next, we have Roishetta Ozane, who's going to be introduced by Maury Johnson.
This is Casper. So you may be wondering why an old white guy from Appalachia is here introducing a young, phenomenal black lady from Southwest Louisiana. You're about to find out. Stacy McConnell was supposed to be doing this introduction. She's the director of the Vessel Project of Louisiana. Unfortunately, she can't be here tonight because she is traveling to Colorado to see a new granddaughter. So I asked Stacy to send me some words to introduce her. This is some abbreviated words that she sent to me. I'm sad to miss this event in person, but I'm traveling to meet my new granddaughter in Colorado. It is an honor to be able to present this award to someone whose work is nothing short of transformational. Roishetta Sibley Ozane. I want to share a little bit of how I came to know Roishetta. While I was doing contract work for Vessel Project, physical sponsor, she and I contacted through her work. Her passion and energy is contagious. Roishetta is a beating heart of the Vessel Project of Louisiana, a relentless advocate for the environmental justice and a champion for frontline communities facing the gravest impact of climate change and industrial pollution. I witnessed that last week. Jess and some of us were down there, down in your neighborhood. PK. Her unwavering dedication to protecting the air, water, and land inspires all of us who are privileged to know her and work alongside of her. Amen. Roishetta's leadership embodies what it means to be a sentinel, someone who stands, watches, protects, and endures the most vulnerable, make sure they are seen and heard. Her involvement in multiple campaigns, her grassroots organizing, and her fierce determination have all led to tangible changes and have given hope to countless individuals. Roishetta inspires and drives real change every day. Roishetta, you remind us that true change begins at the community level and takes a leader with courage, heart, and an unyielding sense of purpose to make that change a reality. Thank you for your incredible work. I want to add something. You've had an incredible week. This year, the Shirley Chisholm Black Foundation created a new special award to mark the 100th birthday of Shirley Chisholm. It created a very special award called the Shirley Chisholm Black Femme Leader Wellness Sistership on this past Monday, 2 days. She literally just flew here from Washington, D.C. Roishetta was one of the 2 great leaders to receive the inaugural Shirley Chisholm Black Femme Leader Wellness Sistership Award from the Chisholm Legacy Project. So on behalf of Stacy, myself, and everyone, every single friend and ally who's had the pleasure to know and work with this incredible lady, I would like for everyone to join us in thanking Roishetta for your incredible work and to congratulate you on being accepted a 2024 Community Sentinel Award winner. Please join us on the stage, Roishetta. Don't hit me with it.
He said, I'll hit him with it. Oh my goodness. One thing y'all know about me, I think they gave us a time limit, like 4 minutes. I don't know. I didn't really look at that part. I just glanced over it. Y'all know I like a stage, and y'all know I like a microphone. But you also know that if you know me, you also know that many of the time I say that I don't do this work for recognition or awards. Actually, getting awards is like my least favorite part of the work, because I feel like when one individual gets an award, it kind of diminishes the work that we do as community and as a group and as coalition members. So I always like to bring in the people who've helped me get here. Like, I'm a single Black mom from Sulphur, Louisiana, originally from Rouville, Mississippi. Do y'all think that I could have helped over 300 people by myself? No, I don't have it like that. So this award is not for me. It is, of course, for my community back home in Southwest Louisiana. But there are some amazing people in this room who have helped me get to this stage. Before I start naming them, because I want them to come up here when I call their names, I do want to say that, again, this is not about me. I thought about what I would say when I got up here today, and of course I want to thank God, who was the author and finisher of my fate, for allowing me to be here today. I want to thank my ancestors who continue to pave the way for me every day to shatter those glass ceilings, to break down walls, break down barriers, and bring that folding chair for me, because sometimes I forget it. I want to thank them, my mom, my children, my sisters, my brother, my new boo that you all have seen the slow motion video, I'm sure, if you all follow me on any type of social media. But I want to thank each and every one of you who are here today, and I want to give you some encouraging words. This is an excerpt from a poem, but it goes, "Life is strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learn. And many a failure come about when you might have won had you stuck it out. Stick to the fight. Though the pace seems slow, you may succeed with another blow." That's all I want to say from that poem. And now, quickly, I want each of you to close your eyes and think of the worst time in your life, the time when you thought you could not make it, whether it was today, 2 days ago, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, when you thought that was it. I'm not gonna make it. How am I gonna get through this? This is horrible. Why me? How am I gonna pay this bill? I've lost my loved one. I've lost a pet. I can't afford to pay my rent, my mortgage, my insurance. I don't have food in my refrigerator. Think about that time. Grab the thing in that time that pushed you to fight. Hold on to it. Now open your eyes and look around. You made it. You made it out of that time. You made it through that darkness. You made it through that struggle and strife. You are here tonight because you made it. You woke up this morning because you made it, because your time here is not up, because you still have fight in you, because your story is not over. If you're anything like me, a couple of weeks ago, you were saddened by the news of the election and you probably lost hope. You probably are wondering, what can I do in this time? Keep waking up, keep fighting, just keep going. And now I want to start naming those people who helped me to get here. My amazing sister, Krista Mancias, who is fighting so hard to save the last beautiful piece of the Gulf Coast. Come on up here, Krista. My amazing brother, Justin Finch of the Homer Nation, who is fighting so hard for people to recognize what they are dealing with in Homer. My beautiful, amazing sister, Carrie Fulton, who tells the story through her organization, Check the Weather, and through Kogo, who is bringing frontline groups together to fight and to show up to DC where we might not have that opportunity. My amazing sister, Melissa, back there, who is showing up every day for the people. Come on up here, Melissa, stop, come on. Who shows up every day for the people in Gonzales. These are some of the people who help me be successful in the work that I do. None of us can do it alone. We are only one person. We can start the work, but one day we're no longer gonna be here. So if we just hold on to all of the work and all of the success to ourselves, when we're gone, who's gonna carry the torch? We have to bring somebody with us. We have to share it. We can't do it alone. Remember your community, the people who are holding you up, and bring them with you. And each one of them bring somebody else. And together, we're gonna win this thing, y'all, whatever this thing is. Thank you.
Somebody's gonna have to get in front of me because I'm too tall. You got it?
Gulf Coast representing up here, y'all.
Can we also just give it up for Roishetta's fabulous outfit, the sequins tonight? All right. And then just Shannon and Roishetta, please. If we could, we're getting the photo moments here for promotional materials. Thank you for your patience. One more time for Roishetta, please. Repeat after me. Say, I have not come here alone. I carry my people in my bones. Say, I have not come here alone. And if you listen, you can hear them in my soul. That's right. I think that's what Roishetta was saying, that we don't come here alone. We come with our people. And that was the song we sang earlier before we started this show. And I just want to remind people that we don't come here alone. We come with our ancestors. We come with our community. And we don't do this alone. Because in a time when individualism will divide us, that's what community will save us. All right. Thank you so much, Roishetta. You're amazing. All right. Up next is Andrea Pierce, who will be introduced by Jessica Berger. Give it up for Jessica. Thank you, Jessica. Let's make sure your sound is good.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's my honor to introduce Andrea Pierce, a remarkable leader and a fierce advocate for Indigenous rights and environmental justice. I first met Andrea, during my time as an environmental justice graduate student at the University of Michigan, working on a group master's project with her and the Anishinaabe Caucus on the issue of Line 5. From that experience, I witnessed her unwavering commitment to her community and her tireless efforts to protect the water. We also made a short film that captured Andrea's passion and work on the issue of Line 5 called Water is Life, Indigenous Lifeways Threatened by Enbridge's Line 5 that y'all should watch on YouTube as well. Andrea is a proud citizen of the Little Traverse Bay Band of Ottawa Indians and a lifelong champion for justice. She wears many hats with grace and determination, including policy director for the Michigan Environmental Justice Coalition and chair of the Little Traverse Bay Band's election board. As co-founder and vice chair of the Anishinaabe Caucus, the first in Michigan focused on Indigenous issues, Andrea has led transformative work on tribal treaty rights, cultural preservation, and on critical topics like Line 5, PFAS contamination, the protection of wolves and wildlife, and raising awareness about missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. Her leadership in Idle No More Michigan and the Pipe Out Paddle Up Flotilla has united people to celebrate and defend our sacred connection to water. One of Andrea's most extraordinary contributions was her role in uncovering a 10,000-year-old cultural sacred site at the Straits of Mackinac, a discovery that underscores the deep and enduring connection of the Anishinaabe people to the land and is crucial in the fight against Line 5 and the replacement tunnel. But Andrea's impact goes beyond titles and achievements. She is a mentor, a mother, a grandmother, and a friend. Her compassion and strengths inspires us all to look forward 7 generations and more to build a future rooted in justice, equity, and respect for our shared planet. Please join me in celebrating Andrea Pierce, a true force for change and a deeply deserving recipient of this award.
Be ugly crying. Thank you. Oh my. Thank you, everybody. Hello. In my language, we say bonjour, ani, which is hello. I'm also going to say miigwech, which is thank you. I am so surprised. I'm honored. I am so honored. I'm going to introduce myself in my language, which is Wasno Kwe Indigenakas, Wakanaka Singo Dawa Ndojaba, Makwa Nodonum. So what I just said was that I'm the Northern Lights woman. I'm from Little Traverse Bay Band of Odawa Indians. Wakanaka Singo Dawa is like the land of the crooked tree. When we came around and over the boats and stuff, there was this tree that we knew was home. And I'm Bear Clan. And I was taught that Bear Clan is the protector of the forest. And part of the forest is the water. And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing everything that we can. And it's not just me. There's a whole group of us. There really is. There's a guy to say thank you to my family, my friends, my community. We have so many events, and everybody shows up, and we are always there. So it's not ever just me. It's a whole group of us. And I think a lot of the leaders realize that here. And that's what makes it so beautiful. I tell everybody, I said, I'm just the one you guys push up front. You say, who's going to do it? And everybody steps back, and I'm like, oh, I missed that memo. And yeah, like you said, do it scared, all the time. I'm on the front lines. We have stood in front of all kinds of pipelines. We've stood there. We've taken down streets and all over Michigan. Everywhere we go, we took down streets to bring awareness to these pipelines that are trying to destroy our country and our state and our beautiful waters. I don't know if you guys know, but Michigan has got 20% of the world's fresh water, and that's what we're protecting. It'll affect everybody when that gets destroyed. Oh, I better move faster. Sorry. Okay, so I wanted to thank FracTracker. I want to thank the committees for selecting me. I want to thank Jessica for nominating me. I want to thank 10 years of Sentinel Awards. These are really amazing people. I've met a few of you guys, and I am just honored to be part of this. So thank you for bringing me here.
I have to thank my ancestors, my creator, my family, my friends, my community, all the warriors that stand with me, near me, and around me, all of them, miigwech. I'm grateful for your award. That's not why I do this work. I am working for the next 7 generations. I want to make sure that when I'm gone, that we have water, we have clean land, we have clean water that's safe to drink. It's not right now. And that the air is clean. I'm working to protect Mother Earth. We did find that 10,000-year-old sacred site trying to shut down Line 5. So I'm hoping that'll still work. We developed a group called the Pipe Out Paddle Up Flotilla, where we took to the water in kayaks and GMOS, the great big longboats that natives ride in. And we brought Native people, we brought leadership, legislators, we brought tribal chair people, we brought environmental organizations, we brought Michigan citizens together, because always we're going to be stronger together. And we want to build those networks. When you come into some place and you look into a room and you don't see anybody, you'll see one of us probably, you know? And that's how it should be. You're never alone. You got a group of people with you fighting. So that's all I want to do. I want to really thank my daughter and my grandson. I know they're out there, hey guys. And they're why I do this. They're part of this. When they ask me, you know, when they look at me and say, what did you do to stop this? What did you do to stop this destruction? I want to be able to say everything I possibly could and a whole bunch of things I didn't know I could do. Because that's what we are. We're fighting, 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 a whole group of us. It's just beautiful to see everybody come together. So, miigwech, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, miigwech.
Miigwech, Andrea, your daughter's saying hello to you on the Zoom. Thank you for fighting for the air we breathe, for the water we drink, and for future generations. Miigwech. All right, folks, we got 2 more winners to go. And we are going to, for our Community Choice Award, we asked our community who deserves this award, and our community overwhelmingly voted for Pat Popple, who will be introduced by Ted Alk. And Ted couldn't make it, so we have a video to show. So Ted, let's hear from you.
I first met Pat Popple in Eau Claire, Wisconsin back in 2013 when I was beginning to educate myself on the impacts of and connections between fracking and frac sand mining. The topic of where the fracking industry was getting its sand, or proppant as they like to call it, was not really top of mind for many people at the time. As I was doing my research, it became clear right away that the topic was top of mind for one person in particular in western Wisconsin by the name of Pat Popple. Everywhere I looked and everyone I contacted said that I needed to connect with Pat because she knew where all the bodies were buried and was deeply connected to the resistance movements percolating up throughout rural parts of western Wisconsin and beyond. Pat's signature contribution to the movement, and in keeping with her background as an educator, was and is the Frac Sand Sentinel, Pat's newsletter she has been publishing since 2012. The Sentinel has come to be a trusted source of information on the comings and goings of the silica sand industry, not just in Wisconsin, but in places like LaSalle County, Illinois, South Rockwood, Michigan, and beyond. The Sentinel is a great example of citizen science and the value of qualitative data in documenting the timeline of impacts associated with polluting industries. She has remained a watchful eye on the industry as journalists, academics, and even nonprofits have come and gone. It is Pat that has stood tall in the face of opposition that would make most mortals throw their hands up in defeat. Pat is at the center of the fight against frac sand mining and in the effort to fully publicize the myriad impacts of the industry on economies, communities, and the environment. She isn't just a fighter, she is a friend and mentor for so many who have benefited from and emulated her bravery and persistence. She has provided a model for those that might otherwise avoid conflict to get in the ring and take on seemingly unbeatable corporate forces and governors like Scott Walker doing the bidding of the mining industry. The highest compliment you can pay a Wisconsinite in the environmental space is to assert that one of the patron saints of the country's environmental movement, Wisconsin's own Aldo Leopold, would be proud to call Pat a comrade in the fight to protect our planet from corporate greed and bad actors hell-bent on destroying the planet. Congratulations, Pat, on being selected for the 2024 Community Sentinel Award for Environmental Stewardship in the Community Choice category. You are an inspiration to us all.
Thank you for bearing with us challenges of a hybrid event. But Pat Popple is joining us virtually. Let's get Pat on the screen. Let's see if we can see you and hear you. Pat, can you say hello? Let's give it a moment. Oh. Pat, if you can hear us, can you say hello? Pat,
hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you. Take it away.
I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to hear Ted Ock's comments, and so maybe at a later time that will be possible. Greetings from Wisconsin. It's a distance away from many of you, but it's home to me. The learning curve regarding frac sand mining and its connection to fracking and global warming has really been steep. Many across the globe have developed an understanding of what it means to be impacted directly or indirectly by the fossil fuel industry. Our work began over 16 years ago when we were shocked that the special kind of sandstone, a silica formation, from our hills would be blasted out, crushed, cleaned, and carried away to places beyond our wildest dreams for use as a proppant by the big oil and fuel gas industry. Landsmen and others convinced people in small city and rural areas that there would be no jobs, or would be jobs, and money with little to no impact in a very multifaceted industry. Complications increased as the days and years unfolded. Heavy metals come to find out, did leach out of some formations, causing polluted drinking water. Air and water quality issues, blasting, breaches, road and bridge destruction, interferences with life, and the expectation that counties would be responsible for reclamation with very limited funding became reality. Ordinances and other protective measures to reduce damages, slow down, or stop the industry were written. Yet impacts are visible, and even now, with the work of environmental justice attorneys and nonprofit organizations, scientists, photographers, and nonprofit organizations, and the media, and local groups interested in their communities have worked diligently to avoid damages. There are many brave souls out there, and you are among them, still aiming high for further ending of the destruction to our health and surroundings caused by the industry. Our group met over 100 times, sharing what we knew, regrouping and developing ideas. We assisted others as the frac sand industry took hold in Northwest Wisconsin. The emphasis on educating and acting well, also meeting with leaders who could assist or not in the effort, was important. What a ride it has been. Fortunately, the number of frac sand facilities has decreased, and yet we find companies purchasing bankrupt facilities, creating new investor options, and obtaining permits, all clamoring for a share of the riches that they might acquire at the public's expense. As group meetings have declined, interest remains. Frac sand Sentinel mailings are shared. One project mandated grant writing efforts to involve interns and a health and environmental expert at a local university. The purpose of this community-driven hands-on science project was to acquire and set up air monitoring equipment strategically placed near mines and homes to collect data regarding polluted air. Attention to water quality and quantity efforts resulted in changes to ordinances and state regulations under public pressure. Yet we face powerful interests against incredible odds. One early plan was to develop a program to teach the public about journaling and recording observations, reporting violations, training people to become a community scientists, and meeting with others to assist or to build cases for potential litigation. Public Lab assisted in fulfilling that dream. FracTracker and Halt the Harm have created a support system for all. Thank goodness. I was excited, really, to participate in a book club while reading Petroleum 238 and discussing radiation impacts. That was meaningful to me. One step forward and 2 steps back is a common theme that we can all appreciate. It takes determination, perseverance, and persistence to make headway with the utmost or almost insurmountable challenges and threats that we face. Reaching and teaching others, with limited funds, of course, are critical in a time when we must share, work together, think critically, and encourage involvement and action if we are to sustain or to achieve sustainable practices. I am humbled by this prestigious award and graciously receive it as an honor as we all work together. It is about all of us as community members. Thank you all who have had a part in this awards program. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Pat. We appreciate you. And thank you for tuning in virtually. Sorry you couldn't make it in person, but we're glad you're here. Give it up one more time for Pat Popple, everybody. All right, last but not least, we're gonna finish strong here with our emerging leader, which is a new category we created to honor people under 30 in this fight. Our last but not least winner is Quinn Eide, introduced by Miguel Alatorre. Give it up for Miguel.
All right, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to stand here tonight and be in a really cold Pittsburgh compared to our really warm California, but I'm really honored to stand here in front of you guys today to present this really amazing award to our executive director, Quinn Eide of Fossil Free California. Quinn is a visionary leader that really inspired a lot of change in my personal life. I started working with Quinn as the campaign's organizer for Fossil Free California, which was a great position, but eventually when I moved on, I moved towards opening up a new nonprofit of my own, which is the Unidos Network, Inc., and I really could not have done it without Quinn supporting me the entire time. I come from a very small environmental justice community where we didn't have the chance to get me formally educated, and so Quinn supporting me and becoming a leader was essential to me becoming the leader I am today. And so it's really amazing to see the growth that you've done. It's really beautiful to see the really diverse staff that we have at Fossil Free California. You've done a great job in making sure that we have the staff to support all the campaigns that we have in California. So thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for all the time and effort that you put into our volunteers and to our campaigns. You've sacrificed so much of your time to make sure that we can live in a fossil-free California. So thank you so much, and everyone give a really big hand of applause for Quinn.
Yeah, so first off, thank you so much to FracTracker and to Halt the Harm Network for hosting these awards. And I also want to give a special shout out to Miguel, who flew all the way in from California, and not only from California, but from the Central Valley, where he had to drive a long ways to get to the airport. He really has been a huge supporter of fossil fuel divestment and of environmental justice for a long time. He's a third-generation organizer and is now the founder of Unidos Network. an organization committed to uplifting underserved and unincorporated communities across California's Central Valley and beyond to bring economic growth to environmental justice, or economic growth and environmental justice to these communities. For me, Miguel has always been someone who finds the time for everyone. He'll drive straight across the state to show up on very little notice, if you ask. And he deeply values community. He values his people. And for me, I think that perfectly embodies why I'm in the climate justice fight, why am I here today, and why I think all of you are here today. He embodies community, love, support, and care. And I hope that's what we can all fight for. I became an organizer in college when I started studying the climate crisis. A lot of things started to come into focus for me. I started to understand why I didn't know what a normal Minnesota winter was, having grown up in Minnesota. I knew 60 degrees New Year's, which is not normal. And I knew that there was this new thing called the polar vortex, where the global forces were now blowing very cold Arctic wind down into Minnesota, and it was now an every year occurrence. And then when I moved to California in 2020, right at the beginning of the global pandemic, I found myself knowing almost no one, with very little community, and I found myself at Fossil Free California, and they became my community. I was really honored to be welcomed with open arms into a community of teachers, retirees, public employees who are fighting for their communities and for their retirements to be out of the fossil fuel industry. They believed in me and became my mentors, and they spent countless hours with me talking about how to organize, how to show up for one another, and also just for each other as people. I've had a lot of questions. And really, I think that's who should be receiving this award. I think this has been a theme of the night. It's somewhat uncomfortable to me to be receiving an award, because when I think about who really should be receiving this award, all I can think about is the whole community behind us, all the people who made these wins. And when I write about the things that I've been able to accomplish, it's because I was a small part of a big picture. And so I want to share a little bit of that picture with you. Together at Fossil Free California, we've been pushing for the California State Teachers Retirement System and the California Public Employees Retirement System to divest from their $800 billion, or divest their $800 billion from fossil fuels. 42 billion of that is in fossil fuels. Sorry, that was confusing. And our coalition, mostly people who have pensions in these systems, have come together to push on their unions, to push on their representatives on the boards, and they've showed up consistently. We've given thousands of public comments at the boards and done direct actions across the state, ultimately leading to 2 of the board members supporting divestment, the treasurer and the superintendent in the state. Then it wasn't enough, so we pushed for legislation. And ultimately, a bill passed for climate reporting and thermal coal, both before my time. And then more recently, we've pushed for fossil fuel divestment legislation on a broader scale, and it passed the Senate, but it hasn't passed the full legislature. But what we did do is we built a coalition of over 200 organizations. We built a coalition of many unions and cities, and we've continued to organize. And what we see now is that the real key for us is unions. And unions are the support base for where teachers, where public workers are advocating for themselves. And what we can do is we can work together with unions, and we can train each other on what the structures of unions are and how to organize so that we can go together in our communities, in our unions, and build power. So far, we have the California Federation, or California Faculty Association supports divestment, and as California Federation of Teachers does as well. And we've seen a lot of students also joining this fight, and I think that's where it really comes together, watching teachers and students standing together and saying, yes, this is where we want our money. This is the futures we want to protect. We want to stop hurting our communities. And I've really had the honor of being able to mentor and support these students. Currently, there's 25 Teachers Association locals that support divestment, and the fight continues. We haven't won yet. We're going to keep fighting. So many of you are in this position. I feel like I'm in a room of comrades who say, yes, the fight's going to go on for a long time. And I hope we can continue to build community together in this fight, because I really think that's what keeps us going. So thank you.
All right, thank you guys so much for being here and making it to the end. Can we give it up one more time for all of our winners tonight? We have extra drink tickets for those of you in person. So if you would like another free drink, please go check that out at the registration table. Please enjoy the night safely. We encourage you to stay. We have the room out there until 10 p.m. So please stay, please drink, please be merry, and please be safe. We love you all, and good night. Thank you, everybody. And if you want more music, we're going to be singing a song out there, and we hope you join us. Thank you.